Welcome to February's Business Outlook Survey conference call. My name is Marilyn Wimp. I'm Manager of Media Relations here at the Philadelphia Federal Reserve Bank. And with me today is Mike Trebbing, Senior Economic Analyst in our Research Department, that's going to answer some questions from reporters about our Business Outlook Survey, and then also give a summary for us first, though. We may have some more reporters joining us. For those of you that are on the call, please remember to mute your button except when you're asking questions. We appreciate that. Mike, if you'll get us started with a summary of the results today.
Thanks, Marilyn. Indicators from our monthly survey suggest that the region's manufacturing sector is gaining strength. All of the broad indicators remain positive and showed improvement from readings in January. Demand is showing steady strength, and firms noted a pickup in general activity, shipments, and employment this month. An increasing percentage of the firms surveyed are reporting higher input prices, and more firms have been reporting higher prices for their own manufactured goods. Our special questions this month indicate that over half of the firms have increased their prices since the beginning of the year, and a majority of firms are forecasting increases over the next 3 months. Firms remain confident that an expansion of manufacturing activity will continue over the next 6 months.
Thank you, Mike. Now we'll open it up to questions. Kathleen Madigan, Dow Jones, first question, please.
Yeah, could you tell us the price index and the employment indexes, they're the highest levels since what time period?
On the employment number, we've seen some good improvements the last 3 months in particular. Now we have 29% of the firms indicating growth in employment. We haven't seen numbers that good for some time. In fact, the current employment index now is at the second highest level it's been in the series. I believe we had one higher reading in April of 73. So we're seeing a larger share of firms reporting higher employment, and on balance, that index is very high for the series. On the price numbers, we're seeing both increases in prices paid and prices received, with the prices received number, I think, being positive for 3 consecutive months, and we haven't seen a reading that high since 2008. Likewise for the prices paid index. I don't have a particular month in front of me for the last time it's been that high, but it has been since 2008 that both were this high.
All right, thanks.
Ellen Freilich, Reuters.
Yeah, how much of that price increase, could be seen as being sort of pent-up demand? For how long has it been since they've been able to institute price increases?
Well, we had some special questions this month that gleaned a little bit of information into pricing. We asked about whether the reported cost increases since the beginning of the year had impacted the pricing of their own finished goods over the last 3 months, and indeed, 57% of the firms indicated that they had some price increases since the beginning of the year, and we asked whether we would see further increases, and about 59% of the firms indicated that they were expecting to see further increases. Most of the firms were clustered, in the 3 to 4% range, but and also a third of the firms indicating that they still have steady prices. So some of these cost increases that we're seeing that are widely reported in energy and crude materials and import prices, some of them are being fed into higher prices of final manufactured goods, at least for this small group of reporters that we survey each month.
And how, but my question was, how new a phenomenon is this? Has it been for how long that they have not been able to raise prices?
It's been a while in some cases. We didn't ask specifically that kind of question, but in comments that we received, this is in many cases it's the first time they've seen price increases, at least during this recession period and recovery. So it's been 4 or 5 years in some cases where firms haven't seen any increases in prices. But the questions didn't really address particularly.
So 4 or 5 years in some cases.
In some cases, yeah.
Raise prices. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Kathleen Madigan, follow-up question?
Yeah, 2 questions on the special questions. Was this survey done at all, a similar survey done at all during the recession? Because I'm particularly interested to see back then how many expected price decreases during the recession.
I don't believe we've asked the question in this particular way, where we had them contrast, increases since the beginning of the year in particular. We have had some questions of this kind, but they weren't so similar that we didn't compare them with the answers we got here.
Okay. And the second, just to make sure I'm reading this correctly, the 57% and the 59%, even if you were one of the respondents within the 57% that you have already increased prices, you could still be within the 59% that expect you may increase your prices even further in the next few months, right?
No, that's correct.
Okay.
It was fairly close to the same percentages for firms that had increased their prices already, and those that had not. So they were, it includes both of those kind of firms in that second question.
And do you think that's that maybe a lot of these firms are waiting to see if that first price increase sticks? That maybe then they'll go ahead and keep increasing their prices to cover the rising commodity costs?
Probably. These are just expected increases, and we did receive a lot of commentary on pricing behavior and the fact that many of these prices were very difficult to pass on because of competitive pressures. But it appears that many firms are reporting the same kinds of pressures. For example, we did ask whether they had been experiencing any shortages or delayed deliveries of critical raw and intermediate products, and about 29% of the firms indicated yes, they had, and described the instances of those things where the most commonly cited products now were steel and steel-related products and other metals. Of course, we also heard other kinds of cost increases for food products and of course energy as well. Mm-hmm. So when everybody's feeling these kind of increases, it's more likely that some increases may be passed on.
Okay.
Okay. Ellen Froelich, did you have any follow-up questions for us?
Mike, to talk a little bit about the employment and what it shows now and sort of against what type of backdrop for the last several years.
Well, as I mentioned, the overall index was the second highest reading, and this month's employment index is the 6th consecutive month. I believe that we've had growth and positive readings most of that time. And we've had a higher share of firms now reporting employment growth. 29% is the highest I think we've seen in 6 years. So I think this is consistent with the pickup in demand that we've seen recently, and also indicates firms' optimism about growth over the next 6 months if they're willing to add to their payrolls. It's still less than a third of the firms, but that's a much better number that we've seen in some time, and the share of firms.
6 years. That's the highest in 6 years. The 29%.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we've seen a declining share of the firms, number of firms reporting declines in employment too, which is boosting that diffusion index up a little bit.
Thank you.
Any other follow-up questions? Kathleen Madigan?
No, none for me, thanks.
Okay. And Ellen, any other follow-up questions before we?
Yes, you've characterized this as sort of as good, but it's hardly gangbusters. Is that what we're saying?
Well, it's a high diffusion index number, and a 17-point increase is relevant. The new orders index just increased a little bit, so the strength in demand is still there. A large increase in the shipments index. Some of this may have been related to recovery from snow effects in January. There were some comments to that effect. But overall, still a positive, very good reading, with most of these indexes showing marginal improvement from last month. So.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you both for joining us, and thank you for watching our February Business Outlook survey. Please join us again in March. We'll be here March 17th, and we hope to see you then. I'm Marilyn Wimp, Manager of Media Relations, and with me today is Mike Trebbing, Senior Economic Analyst in our Research Department.